Hey everyone, I'm Todd Wayne along with Ronnie Heelan. Thank you for tuning in for another episode of Paranomaly Podcast, home for all things paranormal, supernatural. Coming up on this episode of Paranomaly, we're talking with Chris and Alex of Paranormal Kicks Cancer, a national charity event company that raises money for kids with cancer through paranormal events and ghost hunts across the country. Come on, folks, this is going to be epic. So, grab yourself a drink and a snack, turn the lights off on the way back, find yourself a nice comfy spot, and enjoy this episode of Paranomaly. Stay with us, folks. All right, Alex, are you with me?
I am with you. Chris is here as well.
Oh, awesome.
Hi, Chris.
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
So tell us a little bit about yourselves.
Well, do you want me to start or do you want to talk, honey?
My name's Chris. I'm 36 years old, and I'm an alcoholic.
Hi, Chris.
No, not like that. Wrong kind of meeting. I'm sorry.
He's so funny. Chris and I are engaged. I think it's funny. He just said he was 36.
Don't forget long walks on the beach.
We met at one of his events, one of his Paranormal Kicks Cancer events almost 3 years ago. And, it was everything kind of clicked right away. And we were engaged about a year and a half later. And here we are, rocking and rolling. We, Paranormal Kicks Cancer, just so you know, and I'm going to brag a little bit about Chris here for a second, but
don't brag about me.
well, he is the founder of Proof, which is Paranormal Research Organization of Florida. That is our investigative team. And that on its own is, really well known and has done very well over the years. It's been around for 18 years now?
Since 2006.
Since 2006. So about 15 years. And but he also owns and operates Paranormal Kicks Cancer. And that Paranormal Kicks Cancer has really gone gangbusters, especially over the past 3 years. We've gone from 1,700 followers to close to 4,500 followers in just under 2 years. And we've been helping, really helping showcase the paranormal to Florida and beyond, providing people with amazing haunted experiences, overnight experiences, while simultaneously supporting and helping, survivors and families with cancer. And it's really been a tremendous experience for us.
The location.
And along with helping the locations, we kind of had a unique opportunity over the pandemic when everyone else was shutting down. Chris and I went forward because, we were able to hold small groups in very empty locations. And we were able to provide people over the pandemic with something different and unique to do. And we actually grew our business, probably quadrupled it over the pandemic, and we're still going. So it's been a really fun ride.
And there's a lot of people trying to follow what we do.
Well, yeah,
I can believe
okay.
that. Yeah,
That's a compliment right there.
yes,
Exactly.
It is. And to me, I'm like, fine, you can do what you want, but I know who is first and who you're following, because it's like certain people, and I'm not a name dropper, so I don't, it is what it is, because it's a business, and we'll go ahead and have events, and then the people will chime in and see the events we're having, and then the next day they're friending all these people that are at our events and trying to friend all the locations, which is fine. But it's just funny how you just watch how they continuously and then you get the questions, how do you do this? How do you set this up? How do you have this and this and this and this?
Well, and
it's like, we're not giving you all of our information.
Todd, and Todd and Ronnie, this is really the key to the whole thing. You know, Chris has been in the paranormal community for 22 years now, has established relationships for those 22 years, and I have 15 years as a marketing expert. I have 3 degrees in marketing. I currently work for an agency out of New York. And so joining forces together, really, that's the secret sauce.
Yeah, y'all are a power couple.
We became this kind of power couple.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that.
That's cool.
So let's do this. Because the people listening, they're not going to understand what's going on unless they keep up with stuff. So let's go back from to the very beginning of Chris and starting out with Proof. We'll start from the beginning and then how it went into from Proof to Paranormal Kicks Cancer and so on and so forth.
Oh, great. That means I got to do all the talking?
Well, you got to do some, yeah.
No, I don't mind.
So,
I'm more the doer. Alex is the front runner with all this, but that's fine.
So tell us what got you into the paranormal and do what you do.
Well, when I started, what really got me into it, I was like between 9 and 11. I don't remember. But it always fascinated me. And then when my grandmother died, we flew to New Jersey for the funeral. And I don't know, like New York, New Jersey, you know how they did turn the attics into bedrooms?
Yes.
You know, the attic, they built them and automatically you have another bedroom?
Yes.
They always did that. So when we got there, we were making sleeping arrangements and they're like, my parents, and they're like, well, where's everyone sleeping? Because we ended up staying at my grandmother's house through all of this. And lo and behold, the youngest one had to climb the stairs and sleep in the bedroom upstairs.
Because you had the best legs.
Which is him. He's the youngest one.
Which was me.
Yeah.
So the first night we did, whatever. Everyone was sad, the whole 9 yards. And we just got there. It was late, so we were tired. So everyone went to sleep. So I went up, got changed, got in the bed. As soon as I got in the bed, turned the light off, rolled over. And next thing you know, I hear a soothing female's voice. I can't remember the words because it was so long ago. But then all of a sudden, the rocking chair started rocking.
Oh, wow.
Ooh.
Yeah.
And
Hi,
of course,
Grandma.
at that age, I jump out of bed, turn the light on, and then you see the rocking chair slowly stop, and then no more voices.
Yeah.
So then I jump back in the bed, put the covers over your head when you're that young, you're like freaked out.
Yeah.
Sure.
Turn the light off, and all of a sudden you hear the voices again, and then the rocking chair you hear start rocking.
Well, Grandma wanted to talk to you.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay. So I just dealt with it, and then obviously I turned around and I ended up falling asleep. So whatever. The next night, same thing happened, and then the third night, or the second night, same thing happened. Then that morning, we're all downstairs, and I don't know if your families did it, but ours always had a kids table and then the adult table.
Yes, we did that.
So the adult table was like here, then the kids table was to the right of it, and I'm sitting with my back facing, the adult table, and out of nowhere, with all the commotion and talking, I hear one of my family members say, "I can't believe she passed away in her bed upstairs."
In the attic.
I can't believe she was upstairs in the attic.
In the attic. So, lo and behold, that's the story that really got me started.
Wow.
And after from there, that night, I was downstairs with Mom and Dad. I was not upstairs. Moving forward. But then as the years passed, it always intrigued me. So then a really good friend of mine, Bobby Hewitson, we were friends for 26 years. We're still friends now. But he's like, let's do a paranormal group. And I'm saying, let's do it. This was like 2004, 2005. And he went ahead, he did the footwork. He did the research on how to set up a team. We did a whole manual, the whole 9 yards. Hence, we launched Proof, and it was like 2005, 2006. And then about a year later, he messages me out of the blue, and he's like, "This is too much like a second job. I just can't do it." And I said, "Well, I'll take it over." So then I became, so then I took over Proof, and from there, moving forward, there was a lot of events and stuff that we would go do. Proof was part of a paranormal event called the PIA, which originally was called the Florida Ghost Gathering, and then it turned into Paranormal Information Association. And we were like one of the 5 teams running that whole event. It was a once-a-year thing. I mean, the last time we did it, basically we did it for like 11 years straight, and like the last 9 years when we went to the hotel gave us the keys and said, "Do whatever you want."
Wow.
We basically sold the hotel out. We did what we wanted. But 36 paranormal teams showed up to that last event.
Wow.
And it was by invitation only. You had to have a team. You had to have all kinds of, it was all legit. And it was all basically just bringing paranormal teams together to help move the paranormal field forward. Instead of who can I step on to get to where I'm going, it's what's helping you investigate better so now we can learn how to do it.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. And it should still be that way, I think.
Exactly. So we have guest speakers. We'd have like Rob Demarest would come. We had Brian Kano once. We had John Zaffis there. We had all kinds of people in the paranormal field that would, basically tell us their strengths and what got them started. And even I don't know if you know of him, but Tim Yancey, he actually had all the rights to the Amityville Horror when George Lutz died.
Oh, wow.
He was a very good friend of mine, and unfortunately, this past year, he passed away of cancer.
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
And he came to every event and spoke to everyone in the PKC events. And right before he passed away, he looked at his wife and he's like, "Really, out of all of this, cancer's what's going to take me?" And because he's been in and out of the hospital for different things. But it's just funny how he always supported PKC, him and his wife.
And PKC is Paranormal Kicks Cancer. Sorry, he just switched from.
But I'm just saying.
We knew that, but thank you.
So he would always... He would always come and support the events, and then unfortunately he passed away recently. But when we first met him, he did a whole spiel at the PIA on the Amityville Horrors. He had George Lutz's tapes, the whole 9 yards.
Wow.
So it was like that, and then we did workshops, and it was all just everyone had fun. We had a big party afterwards, and it was just meet the people in the paranormal. What works for you? What's new tools and devices out there?
Sure.
And then moving forward. And
awesome.
Then unfortunately, like 3 years ago, the hotel ended up shutting down, and now we're in the process of working on restarting PIA again. But so as far as Proof goes, that's how we've gotten to meet a lot of teams. We've helped a lot of families, and we've gotten pretty much well known in the community, and the community alone and the paranormal community.
Awesome.
Yeah,
obviously. So teams would call us and say, "Hey, we did this. Can you come help?" It's all about helping each other out.
Yes,
absolutely.
I agree. Yep.
In this field, and there's just a lot of teams have crashed and burned because it's back to what I said. Who can you step on to get to where you go?
Exactly.
Or can you bring everyone with you?
Right.
And people read and can see that.
Yep.
There was a time where Proof was asked to be on 3 or 4 different TV shows, and we're like, "No, we don't want to be famous. We're here to help and just have fun."
Right.
Heck
We're
yeah.
not. We don't want to. We're just here to help.
Well, yeah, you don't want to sell out,
You're not selling.
Exactly. And so Proof went well. Since we took it over, Proof went well. And then coming around 2010, PKC was founded by not even me, but 3 or 4 paranormal teams in Florida.
Nice.
Basically, there was team members in a couple of the teams stricken with cancer.
Oh, no.
And they're like, well, they're stricken. What can we do to help? So they started this event called Paranormal Kicks Cancer. They did the first one, and then the money was going to help the families in need. And then come around 2012, 2013, I was asked to help, and I'm like, yes, for sure. This sounds awesome. I want to do this. But a few things happened here, there, and apparently people were seeing that money wasn't being given to what was supposed to be and whatnot.
Yes.
So I turned around and I said to the person running it, I said, look, I said, someone's got to be the front runner. I said, we need a 501c3 backing. We need proof as to where the money's going. So at that point, I said to him, I said, if I'm going to help, we're going to do it right. And then I went and I, LLC'd it. We got the backing with Base Camp Children's Cancer Foundation out of Orlando.
Awesome.
Because and I hooked up with them through Robert Robinson, who's a big Bigfoot guy. He's written books, and he's a huge, basically skunk ape and Bigfoot. He came and spoke at PIA, and that's the whole thing about networking. You meet people that are great. They're good people. They continuously to help you. You help them, and then that's just that's how you know that you got the right answers and the right things to help everyone with. Because I can't do everything, but I know people that can. Right. So therefore, if I can't handle it, you need to contact so and so. But I asked Robert Robinson. He's like, "Oh, I know this perfect place that helps kids with cancer. That probably needs help." So he hooked us up with Base Camp. We did a big event with Base Camp. We donated a service dog, and we started like a Second Wish program with it. And then moving forward, it was just like now we have a base. We have proof where things going. You can go check, like the American Childhood Cancer Organization. I'm jumping the gun again. But
that's all right.
But we're with the ACC, or we're with Base Camp, and then a few years after that, my father got stricken with cancer, and then he passed away 6 months later.
Oh wow, I'm sorry.
Well, thank you. There was nothing. He was a retired Marine, and he was on the police force for 26 years. He did nothing but serve his country. The one time he got sick, it was cancer, and it took his life in 6 months.
Oh wow.
It was just crazy.
Yeah, that is crazy.
But my dad always said our children are our future.
Yes.
So from that point, I said, what else can I do? Now my dad died of cancer. Now we're already helping kids at Base Camp. So then I reached out, and now we became a funding hope for the American Childhood Cancer Organization, which is the largest in the nation, which made us, now we are nationwide. So
awesome.
We can go all over the nation. We've gone to Tennessee, we've gone to Pennsylvania, we've gone to Virginia to help families.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. If y'all went and helped out private homes and families and whatnot.
Oh yes, yes, for sure. But then I was once I was with PKC, or once from 2006, I basically took. About 2013, I took PKC pretty much over, and it's open to anyone that wants to come and speak, because we have speakers, we have vendor tables. It's another like networking, basically, but in turn of having fun and investigating these locations and having fun with the raffles and meeting people, you're also helping the community.
Yeah.
Yes.
And go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I wanted... and also please step in with any questions you have, but I am extraordinarily proud of being able to provide the everyday person the opportunity to investigate at some of the most haunted locations that Florida and the country have to offer. And, I'm just going to toot our own horn. We put on some amazing events. We have a tremendous following. Like I said, almost 5,000 people at this point. We sell out our events within 72 hours.
Heck yeah.
And our events are, range anywhere from ghost hunting in haunted theaters to sleepovers in haunted jails to, ghost hunting in at haunted train depots to also some of the most notable haunted locations, such as the May Stringer House, which has been featured on Ghost Adventures, Taps, you name it. So, there is the charity aspect, which we're very proud of. But I also am just proud of becoming this charity event company that is also providing just the average person an opportunity to investigate places that they couldn't investigate otherwise. We educate our guests. We provide them with equipment to use. We teach them how to use the equipment. Chris and I will literally investigate with you, and we want this to be educational. And, it's Paranormal Kicks Cancer is continuously evolving, because when it first started, it was more of this like once a year kind of charity event so Chris talks a lot about it from that aspect of like kind of what it kind of was all by itself. And since I've come into the picture, it has evolved into this kind of charity event machine that has enabled people to investigate locations that they never would have before. And I think it's important to talk about that as well, because, this is not trust me, we Chris and I both have full-time jobs. We don't do this for any profit whatsoever, because it's way too much work to do it for profit. It takes us months to plan these things and to put everything together. But, I love providing people the opportunity to investigate, and people beg us. They're asking, when's your next event? When's your next event? Because it's just not something that people can get to easily.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
And we had to take a break, and there was nonstop people asking, when's your next event? It's like, we need to take a break. Everyone needs to sit back and relax a little.
Right.
And one of the main things that people don't realize in the paranormal, or they know but they don't want to hear it, is the locations need rest too.
Yeah.
Sure.
You cannot over investigate these locations. Let's do it every weekend.
Yeah.
It's one of them things that you have to go, leave, come back,
Yes.
And,
Right.
So then we started with the jail, so one of the main locations that I got is it's called Hamilton County Jasper Jail.
Yeah.
And with PKC, I talked to the owner, and now me and Alex. I started with just me, but now me and Alex are in charge of renovating it now and bringing it to its original look.
Awesome.
And we can do overnights there. We're the only ones allowed to do overnights. We have keys to the jail. So I'm like, let me do an overnight. So I set up an overnight. I did one or two, and then like the third one I did, Alex just happened to come with her boyfriend at the time. Oops.
Uh-oh.
And then she met me at the event, and then it's all like behind us now, but oops.
Scandalous.
That's right.
And then we just hit it off. And,
We'll save that for another episode.
Well, she'll tell you on the way up there they were breaking up already, and she was in tears, and they were going to turn around and leave.
Aww.
But she said that she had to come anyway. And he was the first one to sleep in the jail cell anyway, or the only one that fell asleep in the jail cell for the whole event.
I think he could tell that there was a connection. I mean, I'd never met Chris before. It's such a funny story, and I met him, and I felt like an instant connection, and he was definitely flirting, and there was definitely something there. And actually, it was funny because as we were driving away from the event, my then boyfriend at the time, who we were basically broken up at the time, but we came together, so we had to leave together. And as we were driving away, he goes, "Chris likes you, and he's going to wait for you to move out of my house." And so 3
Alrighty
weeks
then.
later,
Premonition.
3 weeks later, I had moved out of the house, and I moved out of his house on a Friday, and Saturday we went to the movies.
Wow. Well, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. You was breaking up anyway.
And 3 years later, here you are. So.
That's right.
Yep. But and a lot came out of that. I mean, we've gotten some magazine covers.
Yeah.
You've got a whole spread in Fashion Haunts magazine. We even got our own wine bottle and cigarette lighters.
Well, and actually,
it's just funny.
This is the marketing part, so I get so excited. But I'm going to say our biggest celebration is that we were cast in Scott Temperman's new movie, Cruel Summer Part 2.
Oh yeah, I seen that.
So we are officially on IMDb, which is kind of a big deal.
Oh yeah.
And we are officially cast in independent horror movie. So, so much has happened. But it's because we love it so much, and it's such a fun thing to do. Paranormal investigating and ghost hunting and making it accessible to people while providing them the opportunity to give to charity. I think it's just the perfect mix.
And with that, we also give back to the locations. So the locations we help out along with the charity. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Absolutely.
A lot of these locations are getting knocked down for low-income housing or just knocked down for land. And it's like, how can we learn when we're knocking down all these locations that have activity?
Right.
And it's just, we're losing so many of them. So the more we can help, support, and give back to, along with helping the kids, it's just a win-win for the whole paranormal community.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely awesome.
And Alex didn't mention that that was her first paranormal event ever that she met me at.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I'm born on Friday the 13th. I love horror movies. I love scary stuff. But the night I met Chris was the very first time I'd investigated. And within a year and a half, I was had a full spread in Fashion Haunts magazine, kind of basically focusing on being a female investigator.
Awesome.
And then Chris and I, about 6 months later, were the cover of Ghost Hunter magazine for the Halloween edition.
Sweet.
So a lot happened very quickly.
Sounds like it.
The thing is because as much as I'd love to investigate, she pretty much investigated probably more than a regular investigator would. Over 3 years, within a year, she got to investigate all these locations and learned a lot.
We also had the pandemic on our side. So, I unfortunately lost my job on March 20th of 2020 because of the pandemic.
Right.
Chris was on leave at that point because of the pandemic. So the pandemic was on our side. We had time and we had the ability to do it. And that just transformed everything. We are the epitome of the pandemic couple.
Yeah.
Wow.
And as Alex said before, PKC originally was just every September we did a huge event because September is Childhood Cancer Awareness Month.
Okay.
So we would find a family, we would have the family come and speak, and then we would give all the money that we raised to the family, and then, of course, a portion to the locations.
Awesome.
That's awesome.
And that's where we would do raffle prizes, we would do lots of speakers, and then the investigation. People just really started, kind of holding on to it, going, no, this is a great cause. Now there's backing behind it. And then with all the marketing and stuff and aspects that Alex brings into the picture, it's like all year round we can do events and help kids, help families. We just recently sent money to a wife of her husband just passed away of cancer, and they needed help, and it was just a simple, we need help, and there you go. We went and helped.
Yeah. Yeah. Literally because of the growth, we're able to have a reserve fund where we can help people who need help like that. And, widows of cancer survivors, so, we've expanded beyond our partnerships, and we're we're able to hand checks out to real people. But we can only do that because of the success of the event. Sure. And everything's just been working together. And I know we've been talking a lot, so I don't know if you have any questions.
No.
Y'all basically running the show.
And it's not like we're making thousands and thousands of dollars and people are like, oh, you must be banking.
No.
It's like, no, you got to pay you got all the expenses. You got the location. You got the ACCO or base camp. Then you also have to make sure the location's covered. Then you got the expenses with food and stuff like that.
Right.
And then, at the end of the day, we have to be able to get there and no. I mean, it's just, we're always in the red. But that's okay. It's fun. And honestly, I feel like at this point we have a little bit of a responsibility because it didn't dawn on me. But somebody actually told me, they were like, Alex, you just can't call up these places and go ghost hunting. Like, the only way we get there is because you guys have the relationship and we can do it. Because keep in mind, most of these locations, they're not going to let 4 of you go ghost hunting there.
That's true.
You know what I mean? Like, they're just not. Like, unless you want to drop $3,000 or something. Mm-hmm. But, the only way is if you can provide an opportunity for a larger event to let people do it. And so without our relationships and the ability for us to put on these events and the time and the effort, I mean, it's a whole weekend thing. If it's a Saturday night, we're getting there Friday. We're setting up all night Friday. We're setting up all day Saturday. We're doing the event all night Saturday night. And then we're breaking down Sunday.
And then we got to be back to work Monday.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Wow. When do you ever rest?
Well,
I don't sleep.
I had to pull the brakes a little bit because things were getting out of control. I told Chris, I said, we can't do it as often. So we're now doing one event a month. We're booked. We have one in August at the Maystringer, which is sold out. We have one in October 1st at the Ritchie Suncoast Theater, which is completely sold out. We have one in November at the Maystringer, which is completely sold out. We have another one on December 3rd, which is 75% sold out, and that's the overnight at the jail. And we sold 75% of those tickets in the first, I would say, 4 hours.
Wow, that's awesome.
That's amazing.
So honestly, at this point, if no one buys another ticket to that event, we're still solid,
Yeah.
But these locations, we're finding out now that there's other locations now that are contacting us to say, we've seen what you've done. Our place is haunted. Can you come check us out? And then that opens the doors to all the paranormal community to be able to say, hey, they've done it. We're okay with it.
Well, from a business and marketing perspective, it's a win-win for the location. And the reason why is A, I do all the marketing for them, so they don't have to pay any marketing costs. B, we basically sell out the tickets organically because of our following, so there's no issue there. C, they get foot traffic in the door that they normally wouldn't get. This is a new audience for them. And B, this is all operating outside of business hours. So whatever funds they get from us is basically free money.
Yeah.
Right.
So there's no loss and it's only a positive for everyone that's going. It's a positive for us. So because of that, it's a very good experience. We very rarely, if at all, have anything negative happen. And I mean, everyone's happy to go ghost hunting.
Sure.
Yeah, right.
So, very rarely do we have anybody upset. And usually it's for things that are completely out of our control. Like we had one person that was upset at one event because there was bugs in the building.
Well,
it's 100-something-year-old jail. What do you expect? Right? Sorry. We tell you ahead of time, bring fans, bring bug spray, bring,
Right.
It's not like it's the Ritz-Carlton.
Right.
But, it's just, it's just, these newer locations that we can open up to people too. It's a win-win for everybody.
Sounds like
it's a lot of
sounds
fun.
like fun. Yeah, like I want to be in one. I want to go, honey. Let's go.
I know it's a shame I
Are you guys
moved.
here for?
No,
And one other thing I was trying to think, I was going to say was, and with what we do, and as I said before, we build these relationships. And my goal, and I said this in 2013, my goal with PKC was, and it sounded far-fetched, and it still does to me, but everyone's saying, no, it's not, is PKC could be more like a Jerry Lee Lewis telethon.
Yeah,
I want
that
to
would
get
be
every
epic.
state involved. I want every September to have other states that will run the events, and people that are willing to do it, because the more we can do, the more we can help, the more people can be helped.
Exactly.
right?
That would be amazing.
And with them relationships, we, Ronnie D, Old South Pittsburgh Hospital, he just opened another hospital that he got. We're invited to go there. A lot of times he's like, can you come? Can you come? We'll do an event. We're going to do an event. So with that, we learned Greg, TJ Justice, and
with paranormal events.
With Paranormal Events Adventures, he's actually doing an event for us in Tennessee on the 20th of this month.
Nice.
We're at in Tennessee.
With the Ghost Girls.
The Ghost Girls and JB Coates.
And JB Coates.
Cool.
They all
I love
joined
her.
together
She's
to have
delightful.
this event.
Yeah, she's amazing.
Yes, they are. All of them. But this is the kind of draw that we're getting with these people. And it's all people that are there for the right reasons.
Yeah.
And it's not, as I said numerous times, not who I can step on to get to where I want to go. But
Right.
they're all in it for the right reasons.
Yes.
We want to move the paranormal field forward. And here you're moving the paranormal field forward, helping the community, helping the locations, and keeping everything going, and meeting great people in the process. And TJ, I hands out to him and JB and the Ghost Girls, because they're like, hey, we want to help, because we're like, we can't make it to Tennessee this year. They're like, well, we're going to do an event or two for you. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Yeah.
They've been pushing it all over the place. I don't know if it's sold out or not yet.
I think it's very close. I will tell
They're
you
doing it at Octagon Hall.
They're doing it at Octagon Hall.
Woo, woo.
It's August 20th. Proceeds will be helping Paranormal Cancer. We do have a family that we are helping. And if you are in Tennessee, please go out to that event. They have VIP tickets. It's actually very cost effective. I think the lower level ticket's $75, but you get to meet all those people. You get to there's going to be raffles, and you also get to investigate that amazing location.
Yeah, it is amazing too.
And it's for charity.
Awesome.
Right, and then with that, we've already talked to the Ghost Girls about doing something in Alabama next year and Tennessee with TJ. So now that's going to be 3 states.
Awesome.
Florida, where we're keyed in, going to Alabama, and then Tennessee. We're always welcomed. If no one's ever been to Old South Pittsburgh that's listening, you need to go to Old South. Support Ronnie, support that hospital. They are great people, and he actually just launched another hospital that he owns.
Awesome.
So he's now got 2 hospitals.
Old
Harriman Hospital.
Yeah. Really cool.
So it's just great people having fun and doing it for a good cause. So,
Well, that's awesome. I mean, it like she had said, she wants to get involved, which would be awesome, but I don't live in Florida anymore.
We would love for you guys. There's many.
And I was in Tennessee for 20 years.
Where are you guys at?
We're in Pennsylvania now.
Okay.
my sister lives right by the Poconos. Little city called Forest Town.
Yeah.
Forest City.
We're about 4 hours west.
we're over by Pittsburgh.
Yeah, but I was in Tennessee for 20 years, y'all. I just left Nashville last year, so and I miss it so hardcore. Y'all don't even know.
And I was right in your guys' area.
Yeah.
I was Newport Richey, Holiday, Tarpon Springs.
That's where we live.
Yep. So
yeah, that's what he said. He was in our area.
Yeah. And I had a team down there. It was Pasco Paranormal Research Society for forever until I moved. I think I started that in 2000, and I ended that in, I moved back here, so 2017, about that. But yeah, I did all residential, commercial.
Huh.
So,
that's awesome.
That's awesome. So then like the Richie Suncoast Theater, downtown.
Absolutely, yeah.
The Hacienda.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, the Richie Suncoast Theater took 21 years for them to let anyone in, and thank God they let us in, because now they welcome us with open arms.
Nice, yeah.
We sold that out in 72 hours.
And we're already got the okay for the Hacienda as soon as it's about to open, and we've got the okay to do everything in the Hacienda too.
Awesome, because I thought that at one time Hacienda they were going to restore it. Is it? Is it restored?
Been for 20-something years.
So their grand opening is next month.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yep.
Wow. I was going to say, I remember years and years and years ago walking past that going, boy, I want to investigate that.
Right. And then with all of that and everything, we also branched out, and now we're partners with Downtown Newport Richey and Zephyr Hills, because we're doing their walking haunted ghost tours now.
Awesome.
I love those.
Yeah, and they're great places. So
we did Downtown Newport Richey. We set one up. We thought it would be a cool idea because there's a bunch of locations downtown. There's like 5 or 6 locations that we can get into now and investigate. So I'm like, let's just get all the history. It'd be cool to do a tour. We did a tour. Then the person from Zephyr Hills was at the tour, and they're like, hey, we want you to set up a tour for Zephyr Hills.
Nice.
So now we're their go-to for any of their tours too. So, it just all branches out. It's what we love to do. On top of helping people, I just can't stress enough. If I didn't have to work, it'd be paranormal 24/7.
I hear you.
And helping people. But unfortunately, bills got to be paid.
Yeah.
And we do the best we can with what we got. But so we're doing walking tours now in two cities.
Yeah.
And it's just huge.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing how many people want to do it, but never had the ability to.
Right.
And
right.
I always tell people, and at least for ours, and again, I look at this from a different mindset because of my marketing background, but our demographic actually is older, affluent, and business executive minded. This is not, I think a lot of people have an idea of what ghost hunters are, and paranormal investigators. And, the reality is these are loyal individuals that find it exciting and interesting, want to do it year round, and want to keep coming back to learn more and do more,
Right.
And it's really just been such a pleasure to open that door for the casual, we will literally have a brand new person in our events, and then we'll have the most seasoned investigator there with all their equipment and everybody in between. And that's what's awesome about investigating is that, everybody can participate. The only thing I do focus on is I do want, we haven't opened the doors yet to really young kids, especially for our overnight.
But we've thought about it.
Yeah, our overnight event is 16 and over. Simply just because, it's an overnight and it's at a haunted jail.
Yeah.
So, but, at some of the other events, if people want to bring their younger kids, they'd have to come with a parent, a parent.
Yeah.
Or a guardian. But it's good. We dig it.
Yeah, take them over to May Stringer.
Yeah.
They'd like it over there.
What, with Mr. Nasty?
I've been going to the May Stringer way before the May Stringer was as famous as it is, before all the shows.
Yeah,
and the relationship we have there is basically, we call just like everyone else, and we set, what dates you got open, and they're like usually a year and a half out before you can even get a date.
Yeah, they're booked out so far in advance now.
Wow.
But if there's ever a cancellation, we're one of the first phone calls they make to say, we got a cancellation. Do you want it for this weekend? And we usually set an investigation and sell tickets within a week to do it the next weekend.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Heck yeah.
I've done a few places, I've done a few investigations, at Maystringer, and in fact I have video posted on Paranomaly's website too.
Oh, cool.
So you could go back and look years ago. But yeah, I did hear that it's really different now.
Yeah,
That's it. I will say that it's still a very enjoyable and intense investigation. We do a dual investigation where we investigate the haunted train depot and the Maystringers during the same night.
Yeah, nice.
So it gives a little bit of a break, and it also basically it's a 2-for-1. On a personal level, because every once in a while we do get to investigate personally. My favorite location ever was the Ohio State Reformatory, the Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah.
Prison. That one was my favorite place ever. We investigated that last August.
Yeah, there
nice.
was 15. There was 15 of us there
in the whole
all night
prison.
in the whole prison.
Have you ever been to that location?
I have not. No.
Let me tell you. Are you familiar with the Shawshank Redemption?
Well, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. It's kind of scary. The younger kids aren't, and it kind of scares me a little bit.
Do your homework, children.
I'm like, you need to watch this movie,
Right?
But the way I describe it is, I felt like that prison breathed on its own. I felt like it had so much history, and it's also the tallest freestanding cells ever, in the world. It has 5 stories of cells.
Wow.
And so when you're standing there and you look up, it's just it feels like it goes on forever, and it's just so huge. And on a personal aspect, because I feel like we talk a lot about what we do, but we do love to ghost hunt just by ourselves too. And that was definitely my favorite location.
Awesome.
Right. Yeah,
That's not far from us.
Yeah, well, no, it's
and
not
then
really, is it?
here's another fun fact about us that people don't know, or some don't know, or they may know, is we're actually members of the paranormal clergy as well.
Okay.
Which is really cool. Just it's an honor to be a part of that. Where you're helping,
it's invitation only.
Where you're helping families, and then families think that an exorcism needs to occur, or they really got demons. And it's cool because me doing it so long, when you go and talk to these people and they're so scared out of their mind, with the knowledge that I have, it's like I can explain things to them, and the word devil and demon doesn't come out much more out of their mouth after that, because then they realize that, they could be charging up the energy themselves.
Sure.
They could be, they don't even think about EMF readings. I had one where we went, just a regular case. It wasn't with the clergy, but the mother called and was crying. My son's possessed. I think he's got a demon in him. He doesn't sleep. He sleepwalks. He's got headaches all the time. He's sick. Soon as I walked in there, and like any investigation you should do, is you do a walkthrough and get base readings. So I walked upstairs to his room, came down. I said, I know what the problem is, but we will do a full investigation. He doesn't need to be exorcised. He's not a demon, or there's no demons, and the devil's not attacking him, and he's not possessed.
Good.
He goes, well, how can you? I says, because the EMF spikes are 100 times what the normal, the normal reading should be. Come to find out, the electrical panel was directly behind his headboard.
Oh wow!
And I told her, I said, this is all you need to do. You need to A, move his room, and B, call the electric company and have the box shielded.
Right.
And a month later, she called me crying, telling me, thank you so much. And it's just, with all these movies out there that are for entertainment purposes only, the good scare, we love the horror movies, but how in the paranormal the word demon or possessed comes out so much.
Yeah,
and
too much. Yeah.
It's so little aspects. It is true, and it does happen, but it's like 0.02% of the other 99.8.
Right?
Well, sure.
And
Yeah.
I think, and to just, I want to just go on that for a second, because I think a lot of investigative teams use that to get clicks. They use it for clickbait. They use it for
Absolutely.
notoriety.
We've talked about
I'm a
that.
huge, I know that this isn't going to be, I'm a huge Zach Baggins fan. Okay. I love
What a
Ghost
dork.
Adventures.
Right.
Chris knows I have a big crush on him. I don't hide my crush for him. And from a marketing perspective, I think he's an excellent marketer.
He's an excellent marketer, but he's not an investigator. That's my
Right.
opinion.
Word.
But I'm a huge fan of him. And, he talks a lot about demonology and all that. The one thing that Chris and I stand on, and, we're very clear on this, you never hear us use that. We don't discuss that. First of all, we only talk about light and positive energy, especially when it comes to our locations. We only deal with positive energy locations. And because we want a fun educational environment for our guests.
Sure.
And
Safety is
paramount. And the thing is that, the biggest thing is sometimes I think you can conjure up things and bring things to the forefront that never were supposed to be there.
Yep.
I've seen Zach Baggins do it. I saw him do it with Demon House with his DVD. I had an experience with his DVD. Did you guys hear about that?
No.
How, when Demon House came out, there was all this stuff like, don't watch it. Weird stuff's going to happen, blah, blah, blah. Like, people are having terrible luck after watching it and all this stuff. I was like, whatever, this is just a marketing ploy. I turn it on, watch Demon House. This is well before I met Chris. And the next day I was working from home and my TV was off, the same TV I just watched Demon House on. And all of a sudden, the Netflix sound? Ba-boom!
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it does that, but the TV wasn't on.
Whoa.
And that was the same TV I'd watched Demon House on the night before. Freaked me out.
That house should still be standing, and we should be investigating and learning from it. It shouldn't have been knocked down.
I'm not here to have a Demon House argument.
I don't care. If it was really that haunted, then it should still be standing for us to research and learn from it.
I'm in agreement with Chris.
I have a different version on this, but again, my mind thinks differently. Okay, Todd, trust me, I understand what you're saying. I understand what Chris is saying, right? I do. It should be, but hear me out. The location was in a very poor area, okay? And it was in a very low income, very poor area. And if he would have kept that open, it would have, first of all, I don't even think they have rights to turn that into an establishment where people can investigate, publicly. But even if he did, that whole street would become a clown house. People are going to be in and out there like a clown car. And police officers would have to be called out. It's not conducive. It would have destroyed the neighborhood and the street.
Okay, enough about Demon House.
I
think you're wrong.
I'm extremely skeptical of Zach. I think that at one time he was in it for a good cause, but sold himself out and everything.
Well, I don't
everything
think
with
he
his
sold himself out.
No.
I just don't think.
Todd, I think he was always in it for one goal.
I think everything is for clicks and likes.
I know.
And
I agree with you. But here's the thing. He's done that brilliantly. I mean, I don't think it always makes me laugh. How everyone's like, Zach, he's just in it to be famous. Well, he is famous. He is extremely successful.
And he's very rich.
Made a lot of money. And he's made paranormal mainstream.
But we also know, though, that, paranormal, it's like when someone says sex sells, it really does. Paranormal is the same way. Paranormal sells. And if you can spin it enough, it's really going to sell. And he knew that. And he got into that because he went to film school.
He's very, very smart.
Yep.
Very smart.
Very smart. And I love I haven't been I want to go to his museum in Vegas. I love the idea.
And I looked just like him during Halloween. So
and yeah, he did.
We were at Old South Pittsburgh Hospital for Halloween, and we did a Halloween event there with Ronnie. And Ronnie had a good idea. He's like, "Look, we're going to do this little thing, and you're going to come out looking like Zach." And so we went ahead and did this, and we filmed it. Halloween morning, we put it online and
on Old South,
and on Old South's website, and he was getting hits nonstop, going, "We didn't know Zach was here. We didn't know Zach was here." And someone that we knew was like, "No, that's Chris." And as soon as that happened, all of a sudden he stopped getting hits on the website.
Aw.
Yeah, now
But they thought I was Zach because I looked just like him. All because Alex and her how to get my haircut done.
Well, I took him to the barber and I handed him a picture of, Zach back in his hot days, Not saying he's not hot now, but there was a time where Zach was hot.
Yeah, he started off pretty
anyway,
cute.
The barber did it perfectly. So that was all fun.
It was.
It was all fun.
Now, look,
But
I don't have anything personal against Zach at all. Now, I just want to put that out there. I just,
No, yeah.
I think he's I think he's
smart.
Yes,
I would like to meet him and just work. What do you call it? Collaborate.
Absolutely.
Talk to him, work his brain.
No, I think Chris doesn't want that to happen because I think I think Zach's the only one that could weasel his way in. No, I'm kidding, babe.
Whatever. That's okay. That's okay. Then we'll be investigating wherever you fall.
Well, I'm gonna have a lot of good episodes coming up here.
I know, right?
Be a couple that you have to be 18 or older to listen to.
Yeah, right.
But no.
Back to what we were saying. One of the other things too in the paranormal field, and with the equipment and stuff, is a lot of people me personally, it's like we can't use Ouija boards, and I'm like, a Ouija board is a tool just like any other device we use, as long as you know how to do it.
Yep. So
instead of being negative about certain devices, and there's certain people in the field that are like, "Oh, they use the Ouija board. They don't know nothing."
Right.
It's like
more demon stuff.
Exactly. It's like there's different ways to tread water around these things.
Yeah.
And as long as you are knowledgeable enough, and to anyone, a Ouija board, people are like, "Oh, we can bring a Ouija board." I said, if you know how to use it, and I will monitor you to make sure you use it right. I have no problem with you bringing one.
Chris bought me a Ouija board for Valentine's Day.
Nice.
Aww.
But it's because the psychic side always can validate the scientific side.
Right.
And I don't look, don't get me wrong. I know that the psychic side, there's a lot of fakes out there, but it's not all fake.
Sure.
You
have a lot of weeding through to do, but there are some legit ones out there.
Exactly. And I personally, all the new tools and stuff out there, I'd like to see more people go more scientific wise, so we can start getting more scientific readings in the field.
Right.
And go, instead of having blinders on with just EMF detectors and making a new one with a light. We've been using the same equipment for 20, 30, 40 years.
Oh, yeah.
And all we're doing is adding lights and a buzzer or whatever. It's like it's time to try to work on new wavelengths and
expanding the box.
Just expanding and trying to make more devices instead of just adding lights.
Exactly.
Work on the more scientific side of things.
Well, lights sell,
I know.
Purples and pinks and
but
little alarms.
As far as bringing the field forward,
right.
We need to try to step outside that box.
We do. And I agree 100%. I think that we need to have more controlled investigations where we're using a control instead of just, you see all these videos, they're just like you said. I mean, they're using a REM pod that was homemade and it's got all the little bells and whistles. but they're not taking notes of when it went off or what happened.
Right.
It's just like you said, it's like you have your blinders on and you're doing it because you can do it.
and that's another thing too, is you made a good point, and a fine point is people need to take notes, and at these locations they need to have access to these notes.
Exactly.
You can only move forward by, okay, I was here September 12th, 1980. This is what happened. September 12th, did the same thing happen? Is it residual? Is it, does it happen all the time? What names did you get this day? Because I got this name here. Then you go back to the research, and you have to know you have to research the locations and know the concrete history of the location.
Absolutely.
To then put every piece of that puzzle together to know who you're talking with, and to know, did they say James? They said James again, just like the May Stringer house. They got James there. I was scratched twice, 2 different investigations, standing in the same spot on the same shoulder with people watching. I didn't do it myself, but it was in James's room, standing right next to the 4-post bed.
Right.
And then after that, the third time we went back, I'm like, James, was that you? And clear as day, I got a yes.
Hell yeah.
Well, I am a huge fan of EVPs. Because where does the sound come from?
Right.
So 100%. That to me is very important piece of evidence.
And Todd, nowadays with the TikTok culture and everything, it's so easy for people. I think that's what's really hard, because it's so easy for people to replicate things, to easily make things look a certain way. We have 16-year-old kids that can do amazing things just with TikTok technology.
Yes.
Imagine if they had a little bit of education on editing, photo editing.
Right.
It's hard, because I feel like even now, like Chris hasn't watched it yet. I'll be honest, I haven't. I've only seen glimpses, but the Conjuring Kesha and all this stuff, I feel like in a way the paranormal is selling itself out.
Well, it is.
They're trying to make themselves relevant, but they're not going to the heart of what paranormal investigating really is, and that's finding out the unknown. And the sad thing is, and let's be real, paranormal investigating can be really boring. Yes. Like, as somebody, the majority of it is like 6 hours of waiting with like maybe 5 minutes of happiness.
Right? I gotta watch 72 hours of footage to see if I find something.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh my God.
To find that split-second EVP,
But that's not sexy. What people want is Casper jumping out in the middle, scaring, they want grave encounters.
Right.
And as much as I love grave encounters, we know that's not real.
I think another big part of it is attention spans. That's why TikTok is so popular. They're just quick little videos. Yep.
It's 15-second clips and you go to the next one.
Exactly. Then you're to the next one. It seems like everything is like that now. If it goes fast, they're good with that. They want it. They want to see more. And the next video go the next one. But if they have to watch something in length, forget it. Yeah.
And one of my things too, like I was saying before, and I used to get laughed at beforehand when Ghost Asylum came out and the Tennessee Rave Chasers were building all these different devices.
Yeah.
That was my favorite. That was my favorite show, and since then I've met Doogie. I've met Doogie. I've met all of them. They've come to the PKC events in Tennessee. They're great people. But I love the concept of the show because they were stepping outside the box, making new devices instead of everything that we have now that we've been using for so long.
Yep. Right. Yeah, you can only recycle
to me, you can't. And I'm not knocking the devices we use now by any means.
No.
I just think it's time to step it up a notch to try to verify and validate what these devices are picking up.
Exactly.
But I also think the paranormal world needs to take itself more seriously and stop trying to sexualize it. Stop trying to, we've got Stormy Daniels, now Kesha.
Oh, yeah.
It's becoming And I think I even heard the Twilight Girl was going to do something. What's her name? Kristen Stewart.
Yeah.
Well, like you said, marketing is how it is. I mean,
but people don't know how to market this.
Yes, but they know that it's young kids. They know that young kids are what their target is now, and they know how to rope them in.
But the sad thing is that the young kids aren't the ones who are going to these investigations. At least not that we see. It's the 35 to 55 year olds.
Exactly. Yep.
That, and so the problem is that there's like these two complete disconnects. And again, here's the sad thing. No paranormal teams have Chris hit the jackpot with me for many reasons, but no paranormal teams have their own advertising agency in them. Most, they can't afford it. And so, no, from a marketing standpoint, they're missing the boat. And yeah, you're right. The young kids, they think that's what they want. It's going to be very interesting to see how things progress forward. You know what would be the best is if the internet would just crap out, to be honest. Seriously, because, back when I first started out investigating the paranormal, there wasn't internet. I had a reel-to-reel player, device that I used for EVPs, and then I moved up to a micro cassette. I don't even know what kind it was, to be honest with you.
You're aging yourself right now.
Well, I ain't worried about it. I don't care about that, but it meant something.
Listen, I had an 8-track tape.
There you go. And see, it meant something, though. When you was out there, you had to go to a library, you had to research, you had to go to the records departments and search.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? You had to put in the effort. Nowadays, they just click on Google and, find what they want or what everybody else says, and they don't research that neither. They just take it because...
Right, and that's a big part of locations is, well, so-and-so said this happened, so this happened to happen here.
Yes.
And that's why I think the scientific aspect needs to be.
Exactly.
I personally would like to see more, and this is just me, and this has been my idea forever, but I have no access to it, to see if, okay, we research it, so-and-so supposedly died here. Well, now it's time to get a forensic scientist to test blood.
Yes.
And does that story really, can we validate that story that Jane Doe did die here?
Right.
So is that story, and are we even talking to the right people?
Exactly.
Who are we trying to communicate with? And that's why, to me, the scientific switch needs to be switched on where, we can do this kind of test and say, okay, yes, there was this here. We found this blood. This must have happened.
Yes. And they need to
validate it.
Yes. Yeah. The validation needs to be done.
Right.
And I that's the whole thing. The history is key to the paranormal, and a lot of teams don't realize that. They're just like, let's go. Oh, I got an EVP. So John died in the living room, and then tomorrow a psychic comes in and says George died in the bathroom.
Right.
So what's the truth?
And are they both truths? Are they there's so many questions, you know what I mean? And, we're dealing with something that at this moment can't be verified. So we're dancing such a fine line between being taken seriously and being a joke. But when you have people like, this Conjuring Kesha show, honey, I haven't shown you the clips, but when she's cussing and drunk and talking about demons, I mean, that doesn't help our cause.
Oh my God.
No, it doesn't.
Right.
But that's where everyone needs to realize there's nothing wrong with what she's doing in terms of its entertainment purposes only.
Right.
And people need to distinguish and realize the real paranormal side of things to the entertainment side of
Exactly.
things.
Right.
So what she's doing is not wrong. It's just wrong for what we're trying to do.
Right.
And that's what the problem is. And
there's no distinction. No one's distinguishing the...
Exactly.
Yes, that right there is it. Point blank. There's no distinction. And if your favorite paranormal celeb says it happened, then it had to have happened. There's no other ways around
Jack
it.
Osborne says it happened. It happened.
That's right.
Okay? It's Ozzy's son.
It's just like
Ozzy's son.
Yeah, because Ozzy's son said it.
And he was the Prince of Darkness.
The Ghost Brothers. The episode with the Ghost Brothers and him.
Yeah, that was a good one.
And you know,
and Todd, we want to be respectful of your time, so let us know when we have to shut up.
No, you both are fine. You guys made excellent points of view, and you know, I tell you, I've had a great time talking to you guys, and tell everybody where Paranormal Kicks Cancer can be located. How can we get a hold of you?
So the best way to get a hold of us is on our Facebook page. That is updated every day, daily. If you message us on there, you're going to get us directly, or let's be real, you're going to get me directly. So go to paranormalkickscancer.llc on Facebook, and that's going to have all of our events, real time, everything's on there. We do have a website called flghosts.com. That one's more informational. You're not going to find any of our event information on there, but if you want to read more about us, see who's on our proof team, we also have proof on there. So you're welcome to go on there. But I will tell you that if you want to get a hold of us and find information out, you need to go to paranormalkickscancer.llc on Facebook.
Okay.
Awesome.
Cool.
And also, if anyone tries to say they got tickets to our events, they do not. There's no physical tickets. They need to contact us, and you get put in our database.
We've been having a lot of.
I'm only saying that because there's a lot of scammers saying I got tickets to that event, and people are messaging us going,
I want to sell them to you.
Oh wow!
Oh my god!
Yeah, they're trying to sell tickets that they never bought. It happens all the time.
That's crazy.
So,
yeah, that's not good.
Very unfortunate.
It is, especially for all that you do, and
exactly.
And people
we have
hop
to deal
on
with that too.
Yep, people hop on your coattails, and they're like, "Well, we're going to make some money off of this."
Right?
So yeah, that's a shame.
It's the lowest of the low.
It is. It's a shame.
But we work through it, and we make it. Everything's good. You know, the key is to have fun.
That's right.
Help the community and move the field forward, and that's what we do. And we work with everyone. I've been doing it 20-something years, but I can learn just as well as someone new as I can with someone that's been doing it longer than me.
Absolutely.
You know, it's not, I said this is how it's done, this is how you got to do it. No, everyone's different.
We're still learning. We're still having fun.
If you think you know it all in the paranormal, it's time to start bowling.
Right?
Absolutely.
Exactly.
That's so true too.
Can we bowl anyway? No.
But yeah, we can bowl. You know, I can. Right? You know what? I guess evidence can be faked just as easily as a bowling score, huh?
Yeah, probably. That's why the pencils have erasers. I bring one with me when I go. But
Alex and Chris, it was fantastic speaking with you both. I had a wonderful time.
Me too.
And what you do is so honorable, and I just had I'm honored to have had the opportunity to talk to you both.
Well, thanks. We've loved the opportunity.
Yes, definitely. Thank you.
And then, I hope you're feeling a little better, Todd. I know you were a little under the weather, so
yeah.
And if we can do anything to help you out, like when you're putting these out, send it to us. We can put it on our site and push you guys.
Heck yeah.
Promote you guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yeah.
If anything comes up, or anyone from your show says, "Hey, maybe how can we help them?" Or we might have a location, or we have any kind of, if there's any businesses that want to donate, we can put them on the site too as raffle prizes for some of our events. We're open to anything, and we work with everyone. So There's no dumb questions. There's no my way, your way.
I'm very big into cross promotion, and I've worked hard to build our following, and I want to help people grow. Just, because I know it's hard, and we have a loyal audience. So when will this be available for everyone to see and hear?
By the time I cut it in that, since we got a late start, I would say it's probably going to be good to go in about an hour and a half.
Oh, that quick. Okay,
Can we hire you?
Yeah, there's no messing around with me here. So no, I'll definitely I'll send you the links out, and it would be appreciated. You send them out.
Perfect. Yeah, we'll definitely push it out.
All right.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure talking to you guys.
Yes.
And I'd actually love to connect further. I think you guys have great personalities and great points of view. So
yeah, awesome. Yeah,
and anything in Pennsylvania, if you got any locations you can think of, we do travel. So
and if you guys ever come down to Florida and Newport Richey, you're welcome to hit us up, and we'll go sunning.
Oh, awesome! That sounds great.
Yeah, we have all kinds of stuff. Well, you've been down. You used to live here, so you kind of know. But we're also working on new locations right now. We got one in the works that we may have by next week, and we're going to launch that.
Yeah, that's a big one.
And it's a big one for the whole community, not just PKC or Proof.
Right.
And that's the thing. We find these locations so that we can give it to the paranormal community to be able to use and investigate. If 700 people message the same location, they're going to most likely say, leave us alone. So once we get the relationship and the bugs worked out and say, this is what we do, then they're like, oh, you guys are welcome back anytime. You can have other people come, and stuff like that. So we want to open these
locations.
Once we get these locations set, we're opening them all to the paranormal community.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome.
For everyone.
That's awesome.
It's just the way people build the relationship is key to 35 million people messaging them, I want to come, to we've already done one, everything's cool, we like how it's done, you guys are good to go. Kind of hit it out the park, and now it's open for everyone.
Right.
So anytime we launch these, it's awesome because then it works for everyone, and everyone gets to be able to be a part.
Right. Absolutely. Yep. All right.
Okay, honey, they want to go to bed. He needs to cut the thing and do
You
whatever.
gotta get this ready.
All right.
You ain't cutting my thing.
I hear. I'm not gonna edit that part out.
I'm gonna let it stay.
All right, guys. Hey, thank you so much, Alex and Chris, for everything, and I definitely look forward to following you on your adventures. And you have a wonderful evening.
Thanks, Todd.
You too.
Thanks,
And
Ronnie.
again, anything we can do to help or even bounce stuff off of us, that's what we're here for.
Heck yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
both.
Yeah, it's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you.
All right, guys. All right, have a good one.
Have a
Bye-bye
good
now.
night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, thanks for tuning in with us tonight, and I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please make sure to like, subscribe, and follow to receive notifications when new content from Paranomaly Podcast is made available. If you believe you have something paranormal happening in your home or business, or you believe you may have witnessed a UFO or UAP, please send us your story, your photos, videos, questions, suggestions, and your comments to paranormalypodcast@gmail.com. You can also visit us at www.paranormalypodcast.com for more content and information, including all our social links. Hey, thanks again for watching and listening, and I hope that you tune in for next week's episode of Paranomaly. Hey, a word of caution. Paranomaly Podcast and its affiliates or hosts do not verify or check the validity of any person, team, or its members. Paranomaly Podcast highly advises that you proceed with caution when contacting any person or team before allowing them and having them into your home or business. A legit paranormal research and investigation team will never charge you a fee to investigate your home or business. They do, however, accept donations to help further the research and investigations if you so choose to do so. All right, thanks everybody.